Check, check. 1, 2. I think we're live. Yep, we're live. Alright, I'm just gonna put this over here. And we're gonna get started. So, as you can imagine, this is... I'm going to be... I am over VS Code. Well, first of all, if you're watching, whether now or later, welcome to episode... well, it's the second episode, but we index at 0 over here at the Reclaimer. So I'm Sam Davenport. Welcome to my channel, The Reclaimer. And we're going to be going over how to, or at least I am going to be switching to NeoVim because VS Code sucks. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. So, we got a couple new things that we're going to be trying out here today. The biggest update is I have a new setup here. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm working with. So let me pull up OBS so I can actually see what I'm looking at. So I got a new keyboard set up that is mounted directly to my chair. And I got this so that I could hold my daughter and easily code at the same time. So it was kind of a need because like I'm at my desk like all the time, and when I need to take care of my daughter, it's like I have to like lean back and hold her. It makes it really difficult to like lean far forward and type. So now I can just recline in my chair and do that with her. So that's a lot better. And unfortunately, it gets a little annoying because it can get in the way, and I'm still working out some kinks in the setup, but I can swing it back and I can get up close and personal where I can still take notes and whatnot. So let's see. I don't think we have anybody joining yet, but that's okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna send this to my buddy and you know, hey, tell me what you think. How is the stream doing? Apparently it could be a lot better, but that's okay. As long as it doesn't get bad, we'll be okay. So let me go ahead and pull up OneNote, and I'm just gonna do this. Okay, do I still have my settings? Yep. So, I have talked about in the past that I've been wanting to switch away from VS Code for a long time. I can't really say what the, what was the straw that broke the camel's back, because it has been a long time coming. And so I've been an avid VS Code user since probably, I don't know, 2016, 2017, thereabouts. That was shortly, I don't know when VS Code came out, but I've been gradually making it my primary way of editing code. I was on Visual Studio or some other text editor like Get It in college, and I switched primarily to Visual Studio and IntelliJ for work. Visual Studio for .NET stuff, IntelliJ for Java stuff back when I was a Java developer. We shall not speak of those days ever again. And primarily Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code up until now in my personal projects, I exclusively use VS Code. And I have thought about switching to Emacs or NeoVim over the past year, you know, in a more serious context. Because I'll be honest, VS Code's bloat is becoming untenable. And you can say that, like, you know, I'm just not giving it a fair chance or anything. I've been using, like I said, VS Code for the better part of a decade. No, it's repos. Okay. So, on a good note, I did fix the issue with the main character in the scene not loading correctly, Adam. So we're just going to go ahead and, just as we normally do, just take a assessment of things. And I can check some stuff off the... let's just make sure I don't have a serious notification here. I'm just waiting for a friend of mine who tunes into some of the stuff that I put out to be like, hey, your stream quality sucks. Which I wouldn't blame him. Internet where I live is terrible. It's not that it's slow, it's just that it's really unreliable. We got like a bigger company that's going to be coming in, and like a local one, hopefully very soon. But let's go ahead and launch what we got. Screw it, we're not using Remedy right now. And so, in using VS Code, I can also kind of, you know, illustrate some of the things that I really like about it. Well, first and foremost, Adam's back. And it was an issue with the model asset file not being properly put together, because there was an issue with it opening, like, there are certain assets that do not have models, and for instance, the skybox does not have a model. OpenGL sort of has a built-in thing for handling skyboxes, and all you have to do is pass it the images that you want to use in your skybox. And when it got to the skybox to load its model, it crashed. Excuse me. And it wasn't putting the asset file together for the models, which is really weird because that was a day one issue. That's like a 0-day bug that's been in there since I've been working on this, on like the model loading code. And I think I may no, I'm not gonna do that. So I don't know why it only broke now. Like, it's not like it's a huge issue, but like I'm surprised it took this long to find. But we got it fixed, and now we're ready to move on to some other stuff. As you can see, there's like other weird stuff going on with like the camera and everything, but like the scene is more or less back as we expect it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to like the state of things. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I already checked it off. So, do we have anyone in here? I got a little notification that there was a thing happening. But if you're here in the chat, welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, hello. So anyway, hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Loving your updates. I haven't watched the latest one today, but I'm getting around to it. Let's see. I hope the stream quality is okay. It's lower than the recommended bitrate. Again, internet here where I live is terrible. But they're working on it, so we're about to have more options here. So yeah, we have something checked off. But anyway, switching to NeoVim. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start out with, like, what's positive that I like. Like, what's good about VS Code? And so we're just going to start making a list. And so one is, okay, it sounds good. Great. So one is, it's user configurable. So this is sort of like my stripped down view of what VS Code looks like. I basically disabled all of the UI elements, and I almost purely use keyboard shortcuts, except when I'm like navigating the like the file tree explorer, or I have like I want to do something with Git. But pretty much everything else I just use keyboard shortcuts. And so you saw two more things. One is there's a file tree, and two, there's a fuzzy finder. Fuzzy finder is absolutely essential. So two, we have file tree. And I'm not talking about editors out of the box, but like, what can they be? Like, what things do I really need that I'm used to in a workflow? I'm not going to say things like color schemes or something, because there's a million of them and you can make them whatever you want. And fuzzy finder. And so you just saw what a fuzzy finder is. It just allows you to quickly navigate a code base. And Visual Studio's fuzzy finder is absolutely terrible. Like, Visual Studio requires a community that makes paid-for plugins in order to make it usable. Out of the box, Visual Studio is so stiff. And, like, I cannot edit fast in Visual Studio without using ReSharper or some other set of plugins to make it passable. So we also have plugins. I think that goes under user configurable. Another one is LSP, or language server protocol. So I can go down here and, like, let's say if I want to look into my camera component. So I'm just going to say cam component. You immediately start seeing things fill up in the screen. I can just start, and like how I code in the Reclaimer is I don't use namespaces. I just type out, like, my naming convention is the project name, so like Reclaimer, what part of the project it is, like physics, and then what the actual thing is. So if I just say Reclaimer physics camera, that is my nomenclature. So if I can just do like Claimer, you start seeing a ton of stuff. I can say physics, and then you immediately start seeing things pop up. Like, these are functions. This right here is a variable, and like, and that's like what an LSP does, language server protocol. And so that is absolutely essential. LSP. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the biggest one. the biggest one. It's like there's tons of tools that have all of these right out of the box, but there's not a lot that have this one. Build and run tasks. This is absolutely huge. So, how I choose to code the Reclaimer is I like to use batch scripts or build scripts. So, these are simple bat files. And what they do is they just call Visual Studio's CL command, which gives you access to their C++ compiler. And so, like, here's the core of the Reclaimer, or actually the thing that, where's the Windows build one? This is it. This is a build script for a game that's in 3 dimensions. I have, like, it's on my list of goals to simplify these things so that there's just the executable, there's the game engine, and then there's the renderer. So there's a little bit more here than there needs to be. I kind of went crazy with all the DLLs when I figured out how to do it. I was like, oh snap, I can do this. I'm going to make everything a DLL. It's not that there's a huge performance hit. Yes, there's things that you are loading off the file system, but once all of those references are in memory, like, you have them. So there's not really a huge performance hit from that, I would think. It's just sprawling, and I'd like to just sort of compress its footprint as best I can. And so I do this to get away from build systems like CMake, make. I don't understand why CMake is so popular, because, like, even if you aren't familiar with CMake, if you're a developer of any kind, whether you're on Mac, Linux, Windows, whatever, you are probably somewhat familiar with the shell scripting language for that operating system. And you should have access to your build tools in such a way that you can build them and pass whatever arguments that you want. I don't understand the need for such complex build systems. I'm literally just calling the command, the compiler, to build it. I pass in my dependencies, and I pass in the file that links all of my other ones. So, as an example, Windows build. Win32platform.cpp. So, this is it. It has my entry point, and it just basically references everything else. So, through windowsplatform.hpp, I believe. Somewhere. Again, I'm slowly ramping up after taking a 10-month break. And so you saw the build script and what a build task would look like. No, let's not say that. Let's see, tasks. So these are my build tasks, right? And so there's a .vs code directory where I keep all of my editor settings, right? So I can just say, here's a task, and if I want to say build all, like Reclaimer build all, it will build all of these in order, and that's it. This is the build task right here that builds the game. That's all there is to it. And when I hit Control B, it looks inside of that task file, and it brings me all of the build tasks that I have in there. And so launch is the thing that actually runs it. So I just tell it, go into this directory and launch the executable that was just built. That's it. I love the build tasks inside VS Code. And I know there's ways that you can kind of hack things together to get other things running, but when I just Google, like, Laps build tests or build tasks or Emacs build tasks, and, like, I've seen streams where people do that. Handmade Hero is a big one where the author of that started out using Emacs. He uses something called 4Coder now, which is really awesome because a fan of the stream built 4Coder for him, and I thought that was absolutely incredible. What that community has done for each other, the handmade community, is absolutely incredible. But I don't really want to use primitive tools, as in, so whatever I'm looking for has to hit all of these things. And so there's pretty much only one winner in my book where I can configure it, I can give it a file tree, I can install a fuzzy finder, has LSP right out of the box, and I can configure, build, and run tasks. Enter NeoVim. So, NeoVim is a fork of a very popular, I'm trying to find a polite word to say it. I can't find another word other than old editor that's been around for a very long time. If you use any type of Linux or Unix system, you have Vim installed, or Vi. Just type in Vim or Vi, and it'll be brought up in your terminal, and you'll never be able to exit. If you've never used Vim or NeoVim, you've seen the memes. Like here, let's see. Quitting NeoVim memes. See, I've been using Vim for about 2 years because I can't figure out how to exit. I'm just gonna copy this and save it into OneNote because it's necessary to document things. So NeoVim is a fork of Vim with some improvements. And for one, it uses Lua. Show me the memes. Sure, why not? Let's take a meme break and look at some more. Let's see. If you've ever seen Arrival, which is a fantastic movie, by the way, because you can, like, extrapolate the things that they talk about in the movie and apply it to other forms of intelligent life, like artificial intelligence and stuff like that. Like, you have a life form that is so advanced that can learn things faster than you can communicate with it. How do you even begin? Let's see. I've made it as a developer because I know how to quit Vim. And yes, it's :Q. Let me out. Let's see. Oh, this one is my favorite. I cannot remember her name, and I am ashamed to say it. But the woman on the left, she wrote the code for the flight computer for the Apollo missions. There it is. That big stack of books there. And I'm ashamed to say that I don't know her name. I just recognize the picture. It is a very famous picture. I talked about her in one of my streams when I said, or not streams, a video where I said that computer engineering used to be a female-dominated field. But yeah, developers today, like, help, I can't exit Vim. Well, let's go ahead and see Margaret Hamilton. Yes, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and take a look at NeoVim. So I have been setting up a Git repository for my NeoVim configuration, and I thought it would be fun to let people watch me stumble and curse at this thing while I try to figure it out. It's like playing an instrument. It just needs practice. So I don't have like a thing that can display what keys I'm pressing, but I'm just going to go ahead and launch Vim, and we'll take a look at it. This is it. This is NeoVim. This is pretty much all that I have right now. is I have a color scheme that I like. That's called Grovebox. I really like the gray muted tones. It's a color scheme I use for everything. And I have a package manager installed. That's it. I think it's lazy. This is it. So I don't know how far I'm gonna get with this tonight. I just thought it might be entertaining for people to watch me be stupid with NeoVim. So basically how Vim works, and I'll actually load up the Reclaimer really quick. And I'm also switching away from, I use a terminal emulator called Commander, which has been really nice. It's a lot more snappy than the default Windows Terminal. Windows Terminal does not come on your machine by default. You have to install it from the Microsoft Store. But it is free. This is Windows Terminal. I'll go ahead and minimize it. It is pretty, well, one, it's pretty. I installed a plugin called Oh My Posh, which is using different font ligatures and stuff. You have to install something called a nerd font. So Oh My Posh, nerd font, and then you launch in your Windows PowerShell configuration script. You just call Oh My Posh and pass in a theme to it. It's pretty... I wish I could say that it was easier to set up. It was a bit of a pain for me to set up, but I'm just kind of average with these things. For the longest time, I've been using pre-built solutions, but that's pretty much all there is to know about Windows Terminal. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to my home directory and cd source repos I'm also switching between keyboards, so it's a little annoying. So here we have the Reclaimer, and I just unplugged my keyboard. Hang on. Well, luckily there's only one person here. Let's see. So let's see. So we have, this is our home directory. So I'm just gonna go into source core, and I'm just gonna launch this core here. So there's some things that we're missing in order to make this look a lot better, like something that plays a lot nicer with the theme. And there's a plugin called Tree Sitter, which you can download parsers to make things go a lot smoother, and I think it's going to be the next plugin I install on stream rather. So NeoVim is let me check and see how my camera looks, if people can still see me. Yeah, you can still see me. So Vim is it's designed to keep your hands on the home row. If you're a good typer, you can probably pick up Vim motions a lot easier than someone who's not a very good typer. And unfortunately, I'm not a very good typer. You'll find that there's a lot of things I'm not very good at, but I do my best. So let's bring up here. So the key bindings are very different. So you can use the arrow keys to move around, but how things are meant to be used is if you press J, you go down. If you press K, you go up. L is that way, H is that way. And there are 4 primary modes to them. So this one, the mode I'm in right now, is called normal mode. It's what allows me to move the cursor around. Actually, I pressed I, so And that's my segue into insert mode. You press I, you go into insert mode. If you see down at the bottom, there is it changed to insert. And so now I can just type text like normal. And to get out of insert mode, I hit escape, hit U, and then I can undo that change. Visual mode allows you, which is just you hit V, and you can highlight things. The last mode is the command mode, and if I hit Shift colon, you see that there's the colon that appears down there, and here's how you quit. Never mind. Okay, colon Q. That's it. Ruined all the memes. Just quit them. So now, I guess I'm officially a software engineer. So NeoVim, for one of its things that makes it a little bit more modern than Vim, is it uses Lua. It is a simple scripting language that's actually pretty popular with game developers. Lua will not be used in the Reclaimer. All of the gameplay code is going to be written in C and minimal C++, just like the rest of the code base. But it is a very simple language. It's really easy to learn. You can pick it up, like the basics of it, in just a few minutes. And it doesn't use Vim script, which is what the original Vim used. And I'm just kind of spouting off facts that I've picked up in other people's streams. If you want to learn NeoVim, this is the wrong place. You're just watching someone stumble over it and try to learn it. There's a really good YouTuber, the Primogen. He is an avid NeoVim user. He contributes to the project. He makes plugins for it. He makes a project called Harpoon, which allows you to quickly assign buffers to key bindings and switch between them in your project. I don't really think I need that because how I normally do things is I like to have header files on one side and my source files on the other. So I like to have it split down the middle and having two sides open side by side. Or two files open side by side. Sorry. It's probably a good time to hydrate. So I think if I can get another plugin installed, Tree Sitter, then that will, I may just call it a day. This is not something I'm doing cold turkey. Switching to NeoVim is going to take some time. This is probably not the last time you will see Visual Studio Code on this computer. I'll also be using it in a professional context. So I use it at work, for one. When I'm editing smaller projects or scripts or things like that, I mean, it's still a decent editor. It's just too slow for what I need it to be. I can edit the Reclaimer code really fast, but it's not that I'm a great developer, but the speed at which I edit VS Code is struggling to keep up. And I have a minimum set of extensions. Let's see. Let's see. So one thing people say to speed up VS Code is to remove some extensions. Most of my, like 90% of the extensions you see are like different Grovebox themes. I like to play around with them. I just like seeing ones that are out there. But like I have a couple, I mean, obviously I only have one theme that's active at a time. Like I have a shader language plugin that allows me to read GLSL files. I have Microsoft's C++, like all of the things from Microsoft for C++. A couple of .NET tools, and that's like most of it. But VS Code is still, it can struggle sometimes. And the big things that happen is, one is the launch time. When I'm switching between things and I may have to restart VS Code for something, I I launch it, and I immediately hit my shortcut to build, and it's like it takes it a minute to read my build task file. It should be instant. It should be instant, and it's not. And you might be saying that's like a nitpicky thing. If you've ever been in the zone, like the zone of like hyper focus, it takes the smallest thing to like snap you out of it. Whether that it could be a phone call or a text message, someone knocking on your door, and it can also be when something in your workflow is disruptive. It could be your theme stops working. It could be that my build tasks aren't being picked up anymore. It could be that I hit a keyboard shortcut and it just doesn't work. Like it may not open the file browser, or it doesn't recognize that that I'm in a Git repository, despite like it's like the root of this project is where my Git information is stored. And sometimes it's like, hey, I don't recognize this. If you want to push this to Git, like open a Git repository. This is a Git repository. Let's yeah, just got a text message from somebody. And speaking of that, but yeah, it's all good. So, and like that is my main complaint with VS Code. When things don't work, they're disruptive, and it's extremely annoying. When I'm in the zone and I'm hyper focused, VS Code can sometimes just hiccup, and it's like my zone of productivity is shot. So, and that is the main reason why I'm switching over. So, with that, let's go ahead and get Tree Sitter installed. So I'm going to go ahead and just look up Tree Sitter. And I'm not used to this split layout, so it might take me a minute. So, and there are a variety of plugin managers for NeoVim. I'm using the popular one, Lazy. It can lazy load plugins like only when you're using them, and once you get it installed, it makes it really easy. Oh, and here's something else that I want to point out that I thought was really neat. So let me go back to, I also made an environment variable in my PowerShell config to my NeoVim config directory is a variable, and I committed my NeoVim config to my GitHub, and I just downloaded it, and I checked it out on my laptop, and the configuration. So like if I just go into NVim here, exactly what you see here immediately popped up on my laptop after it installed the extensions or the plugins that I requested it to. It worked right out of the box, and so now I have a permanent NeoVim config wherever I go. As long as I can get access to my GitHub, I download it and it just works. So I thought that was really cool. Even with VS Code, between installs, it can take a little bit of tinkering. And I know that there is like you can sign into it and stuff, but I didn't really want to go that route. So let's go ahead and take a look at Tree Sitter, and we're going to go ahead and get this installed. So let's see. I don't think this is it, actually. Tree Sitter. Actually, I think that was it. No, I think that's it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this installed. So, so the problem with sometimes installing NeoVim plugins is that it'll only give you the syntax for downloading. It'll give you like one example. Like another popular one is Plug. That is a plugin manager for NeoVim. So we'll just have to do a little bit of tinkering. I could also just Google it. Let's see. NeoVim tree sitter lazy. There we go. Then plug lazy. There we go. This is what we're looking for. So I use lazy. So we're gonna give this a shot. Let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna go into Lua. I'm gonna go into plugins, and I'm gonna make a new one. treesitter.lua. And I am by no means an expert on NeoVim, but I'm practicing, right? So, let's see. Let me go back and I can't remember. Is it? No, I want to go back to the Explorer. Let's see. So here's an example where I return stuff. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that either. There we go. So if I, can I do, like if I do, let's see. And part of this is you're going to be watching me just Google shit. So let's see. NeoVim split vertical. How do I do that? Control WK. Control W K. That didn't work. Huh, that didn't work. How do I split? Or is it like vert or something like that? Like that? No? Because I want to be able to see like an example while I'm typing. And I'm kind of like, I am not going to be opening VS Code to configure this thing. Like, I am doing this 100% live. So, let's see. How do you split? Tabs on left. How do you do it? You do not understand. V-split. Let's see. V-split. Yes, we did it. But now I gotta like switch windows. So it can be split in windows. So how do I how do I switch? Well, I can at least navigate to where I want to be in the one that I have. So I'm gonna go to Lua. Let's see, config. What do I have in my init.lua? Require setup plugins. Okay, so if I go back to plugins, oops, I guess I forgot to save my see, tree sitter.lua. We want to write this. What? Oh, I guess it's not happy that I'm making it require something that is blank, basically. So like I have in my config, my plugin script is like, look in this directory and then fill the plugin manager like with the settings from all these files. So yes, huzzah! Let's see, NeoVim, switch window, Control W, switch between windows in the current tab. CWW. Ah! There we go, that's it. Okay, now we can look up like an example. So let's go to Lua. Is it? Yeah, it's plugins. And then this is the one for, that's the plugin for Gruffbox. So we are gonna return let's see. And so now is when we need to look up this for lazy. Let's see. To pass options to the plugin, use the following configuration. I think we're going to want this right here because I want to ensure that I definitely want C and C++ are installed. So let's go ahead and copy this. Oh wait, local m build function. Let's just do it this way. Screw it. Right, I'm just gonna copy this and then just move what I need. And again, this is probably gonna be a pain in the butt, but we'll get through it. So let's see, escape, D for delete line, build is TS update, config is do all of this stuff, config equals function end. Yeah, we're good. So, okay, let's make sure we have all of our stuff. Why are you not happy? Is that it? I think so. So if I just write this and, then source it. It sourced it. And so let's see. I want C++. So we're gonna write and then quit, write and then quit, and then let's load it back up. All right, we're downloading Tree Sitter. How about that? It said error detected something. I didn't catch it though. It was really fast. Nice. Yes. Thank you. It's not as simple as just opening something up and then installing it, but you definitely get to cherry pick and make the editor exactly as you want it. Okay. So I guess a test would be if we were to, let's go back to the Reclaimer's code base, and you saw how ugly it was, right? So, it's like NeoVim just gave us something in it. It basically differentiated between strings, but I wanted to highlight everything, right? So we're going to go into source repos, the Reclaimer, and then we are going to... No. We are not opening VS Code. We're opening NeoVim. Error. Parser not available for language C++. Okay. That's fine. We'll figure it out. I bet you, though, if I go to a header file, it'll immediately know what's up. No. Parser for C has been installed. Well, let's go ahead and get that fixed. Let's Google that. Like, what is the syntax for installing C? Or C++, rather. Let's see. Tree Sitter NeoVim parser C++. Oh no. Requirements. A C compiler in your path and lib stdc installed. Windows users, please read this. Oh boy. I have a C compiler though. There you go. There we go. This is the one we're using, CL. Let's see. Yep. Let's see. You can change the order in which the compiler is chosen. treesitter.install.compilers. So I should be good to go in that regard, but we can also set up what compiler I want it to use. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's kind of split these dudes. Alright, so let's go back to our config. Alright, and we know that the C++, that's just not valid syntax, so we're going to fix it. Plugins, Tree Sitter. Whoa. Yeah, I think that it just wasn't happy with that. So let's just go ahead and do this. we are going to remove C++ and let's see. Right. Nope. Oops. I'm in insert mode, remember. So undo. Insert. Escape. Right. Source. Okay. Looks like it's okay. Let's quit and go back. Compiling parsers. So far, no errors. Okay. So now can we go into like what compilers we're going to be using? Because we're only going to be using one. As much as I'm not a huge fan of Microsoft, we are going to be using their tools here. So we might as well just go. Why are you doing that again? That's weird. Oops. No. Don't do that. Don't. Let's see. Was it Control WW? Yeah. Let's quit. Growing pains. Growing pains. Okay. See, it does it for that, but see, we're getting into some fucky territory. And I don't know why it's doing that. Did I just... I think I just accidentally closed the terminal. I really do hate Windows sometimes. I don't know if that was Windows' fault or my fault. I hit something. So let's see. And again, I'm still getting used to this layout. I'm doing a lot of things on hard mode, but like I told someone one time, it's like my life is lived on hard mode. It's imperative that I have my two editors side by side. Or my two windows, rather. Okay, so we want to go to Lua, plugins, and Grovebox. And again, why I don't... Game diff any percent run. Yeah, it's like... It's weird that we don't have a... I mean, there's always going to be, like, personal preferences, but there's not like a editor that just, like, is just sweet sauce for everybody. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. VS Code would be so much better, and I'm like, I sound like a broken record because I've talked about this before. VS Code would be so much better if it was programmed in a systems language. Rust, C. Instead, they took the core of a web browser, and they made it an editor, a text editor. It works, but like... It's like... this is not my quote, but it's like, imagine the best bowl of ice cream that someone's ever made, that you've ever seen, and then they just dribble just the tiniest little dribble of poop sauce on it. I hate it. Like, that's actually a quote from Casey Muratori on Handmade Hero. I heard him say that on one stream, and I can't remember what it was. It could have been something regarding like object-oriented programming or the C++ compiler or any of the other things that he complains about. Casey, if you see this, sorry, I'm not that he would. Well, it said that we have the parser installed. But let's see if we can, like, update the, it was the, shit, what was it? Yeah, it was the compiler. So, NeoVim tree sitter install compilers. So let's just quit this. Let's go back to treesitter.lua. Again, we get the error. I don't know why we get the error. Let's see. I don't know if compilers is a valid syntax here. It could be, but pretty much all I want is CL. That's it. Oh. I have to put in a comma. Source. Okay, so it looked like it didn't have a problem with that. Quit, and reload. It at least looked like it accepted it. I think this will be my last attempt for this, and then I may just pick this up on another day. And I don't know why it keeps doing this every time. There must be something I'm missing in the config. Well, it says the parser has been installed. Let's, I'm gonna painfully stay in netrc and go to the Reclaimers directory. Let's see. I think it's in here. Yep. Source, the Reclaimer. Let's see what we got. It's like, the colors still aren't showing up. So I think I may just debug this off stream. But if I go to lazy, we at least know that we've got tree sitter installed, right? So, and it says that everything's fine. I love the interface for it. Yeah, I'm not sure why that isn't showing up, but we have it, and now we can debug it. So, but that's a little bit of installing things for NeoVim. I have a lot to learn. It looks great. It's nice and snappy. But it needs a bit of work before it's a complete replacement for VS Code. I'm at least doing a like, if I'm configuring NeoVim, I am not going to be using VS Code or any other editor to make changes, no matter how stuck I get. It's like, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, well, I did something, I can't figure out how to undo it, so I'm just going to open VS Code and undo it. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at our list here. let's see, look into switching to NeoVim. So we're just going to say in progress. Working on it. I think that's all we're going to be doing for today. Let's see, I still have my one faithful viewer in the chat. So how are things going with you, man? I know there's a little bit of a lag here. I'll wait on that. Let me think about, what else is there that I can do? Honestly, I think what's going to happen, like, I'm still working on, like, the cameras glitching. Like, I fixed, like, obviously I fixed, like, Adam disappearing in main. That's taken care of. But, let's see. I'm having a fight with the graphics settings of BioShock from 2007 on Windows 10. You texted me about that. BioShock Remastered. Oh, the original release of BioShock. Yeah. I was playing BioShock a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, probably. Excuse me. It's getting close to my bedtime. But I tried not to ruin the stream, and yeah, the remaster is really good. Like, I love how it looks, but there's, like, I don't get motion sick easy, but there's certain things on the screen that do not, like, the frame rates are mismatched. Like the original BioShock, things that would come up that are sort of like apart from, like, the game, like the graphics and things, like the hacking minigame, and whenever you see, like, someone's a picture show up on the radio, those animations are not synced. They're not at the same frame rate in the remaster. It's like, it doesn't really bother me, but I can easily see how that can mess with somebody if you're sensitive to motion sickness. I love the museum that came with it. I don't know if you've actually played the remaster, but there's a museum of characters and original concepts for splicers that did not make it into BioShock, and some of them, like specifically one of the big daddies, the Rumbler from BioShock 2 was originally designed to be in BioShock 1, and I didn't know that until I went into the museum in BioShock Remastered. And those sly dogs, they said that, like, in BioShock 2, it's like, you're going to see all new Big Daddy designs. That's true, but one of them was already designed and modeled. And I can't remember if he was rigged and animated, but he was, like, this close, and that's the Rumbler, again, to making it into the original BioShock. And they decided to just go with the Rosies and Bouncers. But fantastic game. I was really disappointed the first time I played it how little the bouncer Big Daddy type, was actually used in the game, because you see the bouncer as he is, like, the it is a ubiquitous symbol, right? You got the big diving suit, the drill. He's on the cover of every copy of BioShock, basically. And you get to Rapture. You see a couple instances of him, and then, like, you get to Neptune's Bounty, and it's all Rosies until you get to Fort Frolic, and then it's the Elite Bouncer, and you do not see the original, like, Bouncer Big Daddy until the very last level during your escort mission of like the little sisters who have to harvest and stuff. Well, got a little bit of progress done, played around with NeoVim configs and shot the shit a little bit, but still got a little ways to go. Thanks for tuning in. I gotta just go do parent stuff, and if you're watching this video, thank you for tuning in. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. And thank you, my friend, for tuning in.